Hey, everybody, welcome to this session on how to launch and scale a CFO advisory service that clients pay for. As more people are joining, if you could put in the chat if you offer some sort of CFO or advisory service now. I just want to get a feel to see who is in the audience. Just put in the chat if you offer some sort of advisory uh, or a full-fledged CFO service. All right, we have a couple of some. Not currently, not a clue how to do it. Yes, full service. Try to, some advisory, CFO-ish. If only that I'm that smart. Not yet, but what to. Okay, so I'll give us about 10 seconds and I will get started here. I'm really excited that you're joining this session. All right, so let's get going. My name is Adam Lane. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the CFO Project. And so we're a mentorship program where we train and mentor accountants and bookkeepers on how to offer a CFO service so you can add a whole new revenue stream to your existing practice. Or if you don't have a practice, we'll show you how to start a practice offering CFO services. The reason why I got into this in the first place is because I used to be an accountant and I really didn't like accounting. I graduated with a college degree. Graduated with a college majoring in accounting. I became an accountant, realized I didn't like accounting. And so I started my own business. It was back in 2006. And my business over the course of 4 years actually grew enough. I was able to leave my day job as an accountant. And then I started meeting other business owners like myself. And I was talking to them and it dawned on me through discussions with them that they had no clue what was going on financially in their business. I realized that I had taken for granted the fact that I understood my numbers because I used to be an accountant. Most business owners don't understand their numbers, much less know what to do to have a successful business. And so I thought, well, this is a need. Business owners need this. So I approached several business owners and I said, hey, would you like me to look at your numbers on a regular basis and then just meet with you once a month and tell you the specific things you need to do to make more money? And they all said yes. I mean, literally, everybody that I pitched this to said yes. They need this. And I realized that they said yes because most business owners are experts in the craft of their business, not experts in business itself. In other words, a dentist starts a dental practice because they're a dentist. A plumber starts a plumbing business because they're a plumber. A hairstylist starts a hair salon because they're a hairstylist. But the only thing that matters in business, the only thing that dictates whether a business lives or dies is based on a financial concept, which is a business generating positive cash flow on a regular basis. That is the one thing that every business on earth has to do. They have to be able to generate positive cash flow on a regular basis. Well, the whole idea of generating positive cash flow, that's a financial concept. And all these business owners are not financially oriented people. So they need somebody in their lives that is. And so when I pitched this service to these business owners about 15 years ago, they all said yes because they recognize that they have to generate cash flow. They have to make a profit. They have to increase their revenues. They have to stay in business, not only for so they can put food on their family's table, but it was a pride thing. They built this business or they bought a business. They can't fail. And all of a sudden, I came along and said, would you like me to tell you the specific things that you need to do to increase how much you're taking home, how much is in your bank account, to increase your profit, to increase your revenue? They said yes, because it gave them a peace of mind, knowing that somebody that knows numbers is walking alongside them and helping them run their business. Also, they can be a success. The beauty of this is that this is a high in demand, high ticket service. I didn't call it a CFO service to these business owners, and I still don't to this day because it confused my messaging. I pitch and I'll go to this shortly, but I pitch an end result to prospective clients. The entire pitch is essentially, I'll look at your numbers. on a regular basis on your behalf, and then I'll meet with you once a month and tell you specifically what to do to make more money. That's the pitch. I didn't confuse my messaging with calling it a CFO service or virtual CFO or part-time CFO or business advisory and all that. That's essentially what I offer, CFO advisory services. But to the clients, it's a no-brainer offer. And because it's a no-brainer offer, I can charge a lot for it. We train, we've had over 1,100 people go through the CFO project training and mentorship program. And we survey the people that we train on a regular basis. The latest survey says that the average person that we're training to be a CFO is charging $1,978 a month per client for CFO advisory services. You could charge that around $2,000 a month because you're providing something that clients want, which is somebody that they trust, which could be you, to tell them specifically what to do to have a successful business. And that is what we call a CFO advisory service. So I'm going to go through this presentation, and I'm going to show you how to launch and scale a CFO advisory service that clients pay for. And that's sort of the key word, that clients pay for. Because I know a lot of accountants, and I noticed some of you in the chat said that you're offering advisory services, but are you really getting paid for it? Are you charging a lot for it? I meet a lot of accountants who say, well, I don't really charge for it because I sort of give it away as part of the tax service or bookkeeping service that I offer. But if you have a separate engagement with your client where you're offering a robust CFO advisory service, you could command, and you should command, around $2,000 a month. The range that we suggest you charge is between $1,500 and $5,000 a month. That's the range. The average person that we train is charging $2,000 a month, which means you don't need that many clients to make a lot of money in this profession. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to start off by talking about the 3 ways to dramatically increase how much money your firm makes. And the reason why I want to start off talking about the 3 ways to dramatically increase how much money your firm makes is to show you why CFO advisory services are not only needed, not only your clients need them, but you need them in order to increase how much money your tax firm or your bookkeeping firm makes. And by the way, if you don't have a firm already, maybe you're an employee, this still applies because I'll be able to show you how to start your own business offering advisory services, but you still need to incorporate these 3 ways to make more money. So here are the 3 ways to dramatically increase how much money your firm makes. Now, in order to increase the amount of how much money your firm makes, you need to be able to provide a service that your clients want, not just need. And if you could provide a service that your clients want, you could charge more for it. So a firm that makes more money is a firm that provides a service that your clients want, not just need. Therefore, you could charge more for it, which means you're making more money from each client. So the first way to dramatically increase how much money your firm makes is that you must have a desired service offering, something that they want. Unfortunately, with bookkeeping and tax services, almost nobody wants those services. The average business owner would rather go the rest of their lives without, if they had a choice, without having to think about bookkeeping, without having to file taxes. But unfortunately, it's a necessary evil. Everybody has to file taxes. Every business owner should have proper books. So because it's a necessary evil, most business owners don't necessarily want it. They know they need it. They just don't want it. Which means taxes and bookkeeping is thought of in the minds of the average business owner as a commodity. And because it's a commodity, one bookkeeper or one accountant can't charge way more than what another bookkeeper or accountant is willing to work for. Price goes down. It's the same reason why if there's 3 gas stations on a corner intersection, they all pretty much have the same price because gas is a commodity. So in order to increase how much money your firm makes, you have to have a desired service offering, something that business owners really, really want. All right. Number 2, In order to increase how much money your firm makes, your firm has to be built on systems, not people. Instead of owning a job, a lot of accountants own a job. You have systems in place that someone else can seamlessly step into and perform the job, including your role if you wish. At the same time, because you have a systems-based business, you're able to reduce cost, mainly payroll. So the second way to dramatically increase how much money your firm makes is that everything is systematized. When we think about it, every time you take on a new tax client, yes, your revenue goes up, but so do your cost in tandem. Either your time, which means your opportunity cost is going to this client to another client, or you have to take on payroll. So your revenue goes up when you take on a new tax client, but so does your cost in tandem. It's not scalable. And the only way to scale is you have to have systems in place where you can increase your revenue without a dramatic increase in cost. And if you have a desired service offering, you can increase your revenue way more because you're charging more. All right, the third way, when you're offering something that's desired, that people want, you'll be able to attract way more clients because they want it. And those clients will be paying way more because they'll pay way more for something they want versus something that's a necessary evil, which means your firm will be dealing with better clients. And let's face it, I know this is true in my experience with clients. Clients that are lower paying clients, they tend to be the most high demanding clients, the ones I don't look forward to talking with the most because they want, Ruth's Chris service for McDonald's pricing. And those are the worst clients. But the opposite is true. The highest paying clients tend to be the ones that they're the easiest and best clients to work with. All right. Plus, when everything is systematized, you'll be able to increase your revenue without a substantial increase in cost, which is literally the definition of scaling, as we talked about. So for all of these reasons, you'll be able to generate more cash flow on a regular basis. So the third way to dramatically increase how much money your firm makes is that you have to have growing cash flow. The more cash flow you have, the more you can invest in your business in terms of more marketing and hiring people, hiring maybe a sales team or a marketing team or more service delivery people, or just take more out of the business for more distribution out of the business. But in order to dramatically increase how much money your firm makes, you have to have a desired service offering. Everything should be systematized, and you have growing cash flow. So I'm going to show you how to create a desirable service offering. I'm going to show you how to systematize everything and how to grow cash flow. But first, let's look at a before and after example of a typical accountant, one that didn't offer CFO advisory, and then one that did. So meet Teresa. She's a CPA. She's in her mid-40s. She owns her own CPA firm. So before offering CFO services, she had about 139 tax clients. She was charging on average $928 a year per client, which means she was making $129,000 in revenue. Her hourly rate was around $93, and she was working about 40 hours a week on average throughout the year. Teresa cannot raise her fees from $928 on average because she's offering a commoditized service. Therefore, to make more money, she either must take on more clients, but she can't. She's already working 40 hours a week. Now, she could hire team members to take on more clients, but then she's hiring people to do an unscalable job. In other words, scaling happens when revenue goes up without a substantial increase in cost. Plus, when will Teresa have time to manage all these employees, plus manage the firm, plus get more clients, plus retain the clients? It's a lot. So going back to our 3 ways to make more money, Teresa does not have a desired service offering. Nothing is systematized because it's built on people, and she doesn't have growing cash flow. $129,000 for a tax firm is not that much. Most of it goes out into Teresa's distributions. So she's not really making that much. So what Teresa needs to do to make more money is start with offering something that's desirable. Teresa needs a service where she can raise prices. So she must sell something that people really want, not just need. And what does every business owner on earth want? A successful business, right? An accountant or bookkeeper's job is to record the past, but whose job is it to help the business have a successful future? That's what a CFO, a chief financial officer, is for. But most businesses on earth don't need a CFO, considering 99% of all businesses are small. They don't need a CFO, but they do need something. So for several years, we've tested and proven that business owners will hire what we call a CFO advisor, someone that is part CFO and part advisor, to simply advise them on how to how to have a successful business. By offering a service that business owners desire, you will be able to raise your prices. In fact, the average person, as I mentioned earlier, in our Done With You mentorship program is charging $1,978 a month per client for a CFO service. I'll explain more about what a CFO service entails in just a moment, but let's take a look at Teresa's firm after she adopted CFO services. So before, she was charging $928 on average per client. She was making about $129,000 a year. After adding CFO services, she still retained about 28 tax clients, but she added 16 advisory clients. So her workload went down dramatically. Her average client value went from $928 a year to $9,568 a year, which means her annual revenue went from $129,000 to $421,000, which means her hourly rate went from $93 to $326, and she went from 40 hours a week to working 25 hours a week. Now, a large reason why she's able to increase how much she's making while working less is because she's offering what we call productized CFO services. This is different than a fractional CFO service. A fractional CFO service means you are literally doing a job of being a CFO for a business, but on a part-time or fractional basis. We are suggesting that you add a whole new revenue stream to your tax practice or bookkeeping practice, where you offer what we call productized CFO advisory services. But instead of providing a customized service for every client you take on, you're providing the same CFO advisory service using a system. That's why we suggest you incorporate systems in your business. If you do the same system, use the same system for every client, the same CFO advisory system for every client, it doesn't take that many hours per month to operate the system, because you're not reinventing the wheel. Plus, you can use your team members to help you accomplish parts of the system. I'll go through the system a little bit later on. But the idea is that going back to our 3 ways to make more money, Teresa now, because she has a CFO service, she does have a desired service offering. And because she's offering something that people want, CFO advisory services, she's able to dramatically increase how much she charges. And because everything's systematized, she's only working about 4 hours per month per client. That's how she's getting down to 25 hours a week. And she definitely has way more cash flow. So we built in a template in Excel that will allow you to perform what-if projections for revenue for your firm after you incorporate CFO services. If you want that, just download it in the resources section on the right-hand side. Of the screen, looks like a couple pages. If you hover over it, it says resources. You can get that resources there. And it's just an Excel tool, and it'll make sense once you pull it up. All right, so if you could go ahead and download it, but don't open it just yet, because I want to reveal exactly what we mean by CFO advisory services, because I want to be crystal clear about what we suggest you offer. A CFO advisory service, and this is the exact same definition of what we suggest you offer in your firm. A CFO advisory service is where a financial professional meets with a business owner each month and guides them towards something specific. You're meeting with a business owner each month and guiding them towards how to have a successful business. That is what we suggest you offer in your firm. A CFO advisory service. And all it is you meet with a business owner, your clients, each month. And in that meeting, you're guiding them towards one thing, having a successful business. Now, we've got to quantify what successful business is so that you know and the client knows if you're actually on track. So a successful business is one that's able to create money. In our language as financial professionals, it's the idea of generating positive cash flow on a regular basis. But there's another definition of success that we've got to work towards with each of our clients, and that is however the client defines success. Every business owner on earth has their own definition of success, and our job is to help them accomplish it. But I can tell you, if you're able to accomplish the generating positive cash flow on a regular basis, 100% of the time, it will accomplish your client's definition of success. That's the beauty of this. As you can start to see, this is why and how you're able to charge around $2,000 a month per client per service. And by the way, if you think $2,000 is a lot, you're probably dealing with too small of clients. The sweet spot of a business that we suggest you work with is a business doing between $500,000 and $5 million annual revenue. These people absolutely can afford $2,000. They can afford. They cannot afford. They cannot not afford to provide this service. Think about to buy this service. Think about somebody that owns a $4 million construction company. You come to them and say, would you like me to look over all your data on your behalf? And each month, I'm going to tell you the specific things you need to do so you have more cash in the bank, so you can finally sleep well at night, so you can take weekends off without worry, so you can have a successful business that's not going to fail. What business owner would say no to that? But think about somebody that owns a $4 million business. 24 grand a year that you're charging for this is a drop in the bucket for a $4 million business. They're likely paying low skilled laborers way more than 24 grand a year. And here you come along that's going to help them not only not fail, but to have way more money and have more of a work-life balance and have a successful business. It's a no-brainer. This is how we've proven this with thousands of business owners. All right, so this is the definition of a CFO advisory service. And I just want to point out that a CFO advisor is part CFO and part advisor. We coined the term CFO advisor. And we did that intentionally because it's part CFO and part advisor. Because every business owner needs a part of what a CFO does. And the CFO's job, whether you're the CFO for Coca-Cola or the CFO for the corner food truck, the CFO's job is to ensure business is financially successful. But an advisor's job is to get a client to take action. We must get good at doing both of these things to become a successful CFO advisor and to command those fees, those high fees for our service. So here's how it works for each client. Remember, in the definition, I suggested that you meet with your client once a month. Well, so everything revolves around this monthly client meeting. We call it the monthly CFO advisory meeting. And then you'll need to spend some time prepping for the meeting. And then you'll need to spend some time checking in with your client throughout the month. Now, this monthly advisory meeting should take about an hour a month per client. Prepping should take 2 hours a month. And checking in with your client should take about an hour. So notice this is 4 hours worth of work per client. And it's because you're using systems to provide the CFO service. All right, so specifically, how do we launch? And by the way, if you have any questions, our team, the CFO project, in the chat, and they'll be able to answer your questions. I see there's several questions that have come through. And yes, the resource, the template I was referring to earlier is called What If Projections. Look for that in the resources area. So let's talk about how to launch a CFO advisory service from a 50,000 foot view. I like to be very clear and intentional about what we're talking about. So I like to rise above the forest, and let's look at everything from a 50,000 foot view and see what this looks like. In order to launch a CFO advisory service, either add a new CFO revenue stream to your tax practice or bookkeeping practice, or if you want to start a practice from scratch offering CFO services, everything's the same. So the first thing you need to do is get trained on offering CFO advisory services. Now, this sounds completely obvious, but you have to get trained on offering what we call CFO advisory services. In other words, you can't just get trained on being a CFO and learning all the tactical hard skills of being a CFO, things like forecasting and ratio analysis and modeling and budget and target setting. And all those are important, highly important. And yes, we teach those at the CFO project, but that is not all you need. because you could be the most brilliant CFO on the planet and still fail if you don't have the second part, which is the advisor part, and still fail at being a CFO advisor to small businesses. Remember, our target audience are small businesses. We can't just go to a business owner and talk like a CFO or an accountant. It doesn't work. You have to be able to translate everything in language that the business owner understands, because the business owner is the one that's actually going to do something about it. When we're advising our clients, we're not doing anything on behalf of the client. We're not going in and implementing the advice. We're telling the client, we're giving the client advice. It's up to them to implement. So you have to get trained on being a CFO, the hard tactical CFO skills, but you also have to have the soft advisory skills. Things like how to actually speak in a client in a business owner's language to get them as a client in the first place. And once they're a client, how to set targets that they get really excited about. Then how every month in the meeting, how to translate all the confusing financial data into language that makes sense. And then how to explain to your client the things that you want them to do so that they'll actually know what and how to do it after the meeting. So you have to get trained on offering CFO services, and then you got to get trained on getting clients, because none of this matters unless you can get clients. And I can tell you one thing that does not work with getting clients, and that's going up to a business owner and say, I offer CFO services, $2,000 a month, want to sign up? It doesn't work like that. I see a lot of accountants, their websites have all this advisory and CFO and stuff. Nobody is paying attention to that. That does not resonate with the average business owner. When they hear CFO, they think either a head accountant or expensive accountant. They don't think I definitely need this. They have zero context as to what a CFO service is. Remember, I explained earlier that when I pitched those business owners about 15 years ago, I didn't even use the word CFO because it did not translate to the average business owner what that even meant. It muddied my messaging. I just wanted them to hire me as their CFO, but that doesn't mean I have to pitch it in a way that's confusing. I simply said, and to this day, we have about 21 mentors in our program and several trainers. We perfected how to get leads and how to convert those leads to paying clients. But I can tell you that the common theme is that when you're pitching somebody, one of your existing tax or bookkeeping clients, or even a business owner you just met, when you're pitching them, you have to talk like a business owner more than accountant. You have to talk in language that they resonate with. And I could tell you that every business owner on earth resonates with the language of them having a successful business. So we have to pitch our service in a way that makes it clear that you hire me so you have a successful business. We sort of use the idea of selling the CFO service like selling toothpaste. I mean, if you think about toothpaste, Colgate manufactures toothpaste and they put it on the shelf at the grocery store. When somebody walks into the grocery store and they see toothpaste on the shelf, they know exactly what it is, why they would buy it, what it will do for them, and how much it costs. So no brainer, right? That's exactly how business owners need to think about our CFO advisory services. They need to know very clearly what it is, why they would buy it, what it will do for them, and how much it costs. So once you get trained on getting clients, then we suggest, because we know you're busy, we want you to get results. So we suggest you spend just 3 hours a week until you get your very first client. And if you charge the average that the people we train charge, which is $2,000 a month, that means you just added $24,000 in annual revenue for just one client. Then we suggest you spend 2 hours a week until you get your second client. Now you've added $48,000 in revenue. Then we suggest you spend 1 hour a week until you get your third client. Now you have $72,000 in annual revenue added to your practice just from 3 clients. So if you charge 3 clients to $2,000 per month, that's $6,000 in monthly billings you've added with just 3 clients. That means your annual revenue run rate is $72,000. And by the way, using the systems that we suggest, you should take no more than 4 hours per month to provide a CFO service. So if you have 3 clients and you're spending 4 hours a month, you're spending 12 hours a month offering CFO services, meaning you're spending 12 hours a month to make 72 grand a year. You can see how this is a valuable and lucrative service that you can offer. And just to show you, if you had 8 clients and you worked 4 hours a month, you're working 32 hours a month to make $192,000. 8 clients times 12 months times 2,000 a month, it's $192,000. Just 8 clients. And you could do all 8 clients yourself. You could delegate some of the clients or even all of the clients to your team. It's up to you. But now you're incorporating systems in your business that's relying on systems and not people. All right. So real quick, I want to show you what to do, what we suggest you do in these monthly meetings with clients. We suggest you provide 2 deliverables. The first is what we call a scoreboard. In order for your client to understand what's going on in their business enough for them to want to take action, they have to know what's working and what's not. And unfortunately, a lot of accountants give financials to their clients without really explaining to the client what the financials really mean. Most business owners have no idea how the balance sheet connects to the P&L and all of that connects to the statement of cash flows, much less know what to do about it. So instead of showing them accounting reports, we suggest you turn all the data into a clear one-page report. We call it the scoreboard, and we call it that quite simply because if you go to you could know nothing about sports, but go to a basketball arena and look at the scoreboard and have a general idea as to which team is winning and which is losing. The scoreboard is a very clear way to present financials. We color code everything so the client knows if it's in red, this is a high priority. This is preventing you from being a successful business, meaning generating positive cash flow. So we got to work on that. If it's in green, then you're on track. So once you present the scoreboard, I mean, I've had clients take the scoreboard and then blow it up and hang it on their wall so that everybody in the office can see where they're standing. They've almost gamified it in a sense. It's a very clear way to get everybody on the same page. Once you give them a scoreboard, then we suggest you give them an action plan. Everything in red on the scoreboard, we suggest you turn into a specific next step action plan so the client knows specifically what to do in order to turn the items in red into green or yellow. And if every item on the scoreboard turns green throughout the year, the client will, without a doubt, hit the targets that you and the client set at the beginning of the year. And if the targets are hit, then the client is on track to owning a successful business, meaning the one that's generating positive cash flow. This is how you get a client to pay for your service. They love this. And just want to highlight again that our job is to guide, not do. We're advising. This is another reason why this profession, the advisory profession, has a lot less liability than doing taxes or bookkeeping or auditing, because we're not doing anything on behalf of the client. We're just advising. And this is why it only takes 4 hours per month per client. But what business owners want at the end of the day is someone just to give them a plan and then guide them to accomplish it. That's all they want. They want to have a successful business. They want you to tell them how to do it. And if you could do that, then you could charge on average $2,000 per month per client. All so that they'll have a successful business. Again, success is defined as a business generating positive cash flow and however the client defines success. And you'll be qualified to provide these CFO services once you're able to do one thing. Once you're able to actually guide a business owner towards generating positive cash flow, you're qualified to be a CFO advisor. We're not suggesting that you could go and take our training or anybody else's training and become Microsoft CFO tomorrow, but we are suggesting that you could become a CFO advisor to the millions of small business owners that are on earth right now that desperately need somebody like you to help them because they crave somebody to just help them be a success, and they'll pay for it. So to be able to do that, you need 3 things to actually be able to guide a business owner towards generating positive cash flow. You need a system for getting clients who will pay you $2,000 on average per month without feeling like a salesperson or paying for ads. You need a system for providing a CFO service that gets results. And you need hands-on mentorship from other people who know what they're doing. We call them CFO mentors. You need access to tools and playbooks to help you get results. And you need to be in community with other financial professionals for accountability, encouragement, and support. Um, I mean, spoiler, that's what we do at the CFO Project. If you're interested more in that, after this session, myself and a couple of our team members will be in a booth, in the CFO Project booth. So after this session's over, just come join one of our booths, and you can talk to myself or talk to somebody else on our team, and we'll explain exactly what the CFO Project is and if it's right for you. But real quick, I want to explain a couple of suggestions for what to do and what not to do when it comes to providing or marketing or selling a CFO service. And this is all based on real world experience. All right. So one thing we suggest you don't do when it comes to marketing CFO services is literally market CFO services. Go into the world and say, well, I offer part-time CFO or fractional CFO or virtual CFO or advisory services. It does not translate. There's no context to an average business owner as to what this is or how it will help them. Also, what you should not do is sell features of a CFO service, things like ratio analysis or forecasting or modeling. Yes, those things are important, but they're not important to the business owner. They don't know that it's important, and they don't care. Another thing you should not do is traditional marketing, because we've proven it. We spent thousands of dollars proving that it doesn't work, unfortunately. But mass marketing, mass media ads, like putting ads on the radio or Facebook or and then having complicated websites with email drip funnels and all this, it just doesn't work. The idea that if you want to make more money, that you need more clients, that's the wrong idea. If you want to make more money, the last thing you want to do is just add more complexity with more clients. And unfortunately, a lot of tax firms and bookkeeping firms, in order for you to make more money, you have to add more clients because you can't raise your prices. Also, we suggest you stop competing on price. If you pitch a CFO advisory service the right way to the right business owner, they're not worried about price. They're not. This is a matter of survival for them. This is a matter of their pride. This is a matter of their business making it. All right. And then also, of course, and I've talked about this before, stop competing on commoditized service. Essentially, every tax accountant on earth is competing with every other tax accountant that has a website. You're also competing with these offshore accounting firms. You're competing with software and AI. Think about it. Well, there's a major software in our space, not going to name names, that took out 4 Super Bowl commercial ads this year. And they all have the same message. You could fire your tax accountant if you use our software. All right, so what should you do? Well, we suggest that you market the end result. Essentially, the message you want to communicate to business owners is, you hire me to be your CFO to help you have a successful business. You wouldn't say that specifically, but that's the message that you're trying to communicate. You hire me so that you get a successful business. That's why you hire me. You connect the dots. You hire me so that later you'll have a successful business. Also, you should sell the benefits, not the features. Remember, we talked about features earlier, things like ratio analysis and forecasting and modeling. Those are features. Those don't sell well. But what does sell well are the benefits of having a CFO advisor on your team. Things like, you hire me, you'll have a peace of mind. You'll never fail. You'll make more money from your business again. You'll enjoy your business again. Those things resonate. Relationship marketing works way more than traditional marketing because people buy from people. And this is why AI is going to be an incredible helpful thing in the future. Sorry, it already is on the back end, but it's never going to replace human to human connection. As long as businesses are owned by humans, they need another human to help them, to guide them. AI is an incredibly useful tool, but the service that we're talking about is not going to be replaced by AI. The idea that if you want to make more money, you need to think, I need less clients who will pay me more. And then we need to stop competing on price. We talked about the idea of competing on price, but if you go to somebody that is in the desert, that's been in the desert for 100 days and they're severely thirsty, and you come with a bottle of water, they're not going to haggle over the price. They desperately need it. It's the same thing with business owners. You have to understand that the average business owner is very overwhelmed. They're insecure in their ability to run a successful business. They're afraid. They're lonely. They need somebody to help them do the one thing that they desperately want in life, which is to make sure their business is a success. And this is why pitching the service in the right way is so important. And then lastly, we got to stop competing on operate commoditized services. If you muddy your messaging with, I'll also do books better, faster, cheaper, taxes, it doesn't make sense. But I can tell you, if you get a CFO client in the door, you can upsell them to bookkeeping and tax all day long. And the likelihood they'll say yes is very, very high. The bottom line is, if you offer a valuable service, CFO advisory services are inherently valuable, then you'll have way more impact on your clients. Because think about it. You could be the best tax accountant in the world, and that has almost no bearing as to whether your client lives or dies next year. You could be the best bookkeeper on the planet, but keeping accurate books has almost nothing to do with whether the business is profitable or not. But you'll have more impact as a CFO advisor because you're helping them stay in business, make more money, be able to allow them to distribute more money to themselves, be able to grow their business, hire more people. You'll have a way more impact on your clients' lives, which means you'll have higher paying clients. If you're providing something that's highly valuable, you will attract higher paying clients. And if you have higher paying clients, you'll have less stress, you're working less hours, and you'll have better clients, which means you'll have a better work-life balance, which means you'll have a better life, of course. All right, so just want to highlight, we have about 8 minutes left. If you have 8 CFO clients and you charge $2,000 a month, then you're making about 16 grand a month while working less than 20 hours a week, which means you're making 192 grand a year, which means you will have way more freedom. You'll have more confidence because you know that you can help a business owner grow, and you'll have stability because now you're earning 16 grand recurring every single month, which means you'll have a better life, make way more impact. All right, as we start to wrap up, and I just want to remind you that myself and a couple of our team members will be in the booth here at the WorkflowCon booth, in the CFO project booth here at WorkflowCon right after this is over. So make sure you check us out, especially if you have any questions. Your takeaways. It's a fact that most businesses fail. In fact, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 20% of all businesses fail within the first year, 35% within the second, and 50% within the 5th year. Most businesses fail. And think about it. 1 out of every 2 businesses are gone by their 5th birthday. All that time, energy, and money are gone. All those hopes and dreams the owner had are dashed, and all the owner is left with is a ton of debt, a ton of regret, and the realization they must go back and get a job. They don't want that to happen. Business, as you can see, business owners are struggling. They're begging for someone that they could trust to just tell them what to do to have a successful business. And if you could be this person, you'll be able to launch a CFO advisory practice or add a CFO service to your existing tax or bookkeeping practice. But in order to do that, in order to provide a CFO advisory service that gets results for not only for your clients, but for yourself, meaning you actually are able to get CFO clients and charge on average $2,000 a month, you must have 3 things. 1, a system for getting clients who will pay you $2,000 on average per month without feeling like a salesperson or paying for ads. A system for providing a CFO service, that gets results and doesn't take up too much of your time. That way, every time you get on a client meeting every month, you don't have to think, what do I do? What do I tell them? You know what to tell them because you're using a system. And hands-on mentorship from CFO mentors. You'll have access to tools and playbooks to help you get results, and you need to be in community with other financial professionals who are also offering CFO service so you can lean on them for accountability, encouragement, and support. So that's exactly what we do at the CFO Project. In a nutshell, the CFO Project turns accountants and bookkeepers into high-earning CFOs for small businesses. We do that by helping you launch a CFO advisory practice or adding a CFO advisory service to your existing tax or bookkeeping practice with our step-by-step mentorship program. Also, you can have a better life and make more of an impact. So if you're interested, we have an exclusive Done With You mentorship program just for financial professionals. We don't allow non-financial people in our program, where we'll provide you with three main things. Essentially, a system for getting clients who will pay you $2,000 per month on average. In fact, our system, we have multiple marketing systems to choose from. You just pick one system to start with. I mean, you have access to all of them, but you just pick one until you get 3 clients. Then you can add on other systems. But the point is, you have playbooks on how to get clients. Also, we'll give you a turnkey system in a box to show you how to provide a CFO service that gets results. And on day one, you'll get step-by-step mentorship, tools, playbooks, be a part of a vibrant community, and more to ensure you get results. Also that you're never lost as to how to help your clients or how to get clients. So we call it the CFO Project Step-by-Step Mentorship Program. So here's what's going to happen. After the session's over, we're going to be, myself and a couple of the team members will be in a booth, in the CFO Project booth here at WorkflowCon. Just pop in one of the booths and sit at one of the tables, and we'll be glad to talk with you. If you don't have time or you want to visit another session or whatever session comes after me, then you can join us you can book a one-to-one call with one of our enrollment advisors. And there's a link in the chat that Dave just posted. So click on that link where Dave just says, hey, everyone, here's a link to schedule a right fit call. Just click that link and you'll be able to book a call with somebody on our team. And we'll go through the entire program. This is not a sales call, by the way. It's a backstage tour of our entire program. You'll know exactly what this is and if it's right for you. And of course, we want to make sure you're right for us. And we'll reveal the pricing. We'll go through the payment options to make this affordable. And by the way, we have 100% money back guarantee. We'll go through that on the call as well. So come by a booth right after this session's over, or click that link that is in the chat, that link that Dave posted about a minute ago, and you'll go to a page where you see you'll go to a page where you'll see a short form. Just fill out the form and. Because we want to get to know you before we get on a call with you. And then when you go to the next page, you'll see some days and times. Just pick a day and time that works for you, and we'll get on a call, a live Zoom call, and we'll go through everything with you because we want to make sure this is a right fit for you. And as you can tell, we're passionate about what we do, and we'd love to talk with you. All right, so I think made it within made it within 2 minutes of the end. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this session. We'd love to talk with you. So make sure you join us at a booth after this, or just click that link. But I hope you're having a fantastic time here at WorkflowCon. And I know there's some exciting topics coming up. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. All right. Bye, everybody.